I went into Ursula. It was in May after I was elected, and I had ideas. I had researched the possibility of doing wedding venues in the ballroom, and we could get, based on the analysis I did in the Phoenix area, for like a group of 100, if we did that, we could get anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 per event. Yeah. And I talked to her, so I said, the wedding venue. She goes, yeah, we've done a couple and they only charge like $2,000, and there's a lot of money to be had on that. And I said, yes, there is. I said, I'm not saying we do it all the time, but if we did like, 5 to 10 times a year, and it's on a weekend, I said that would generate a lot of income. She says, yeah, I'll look, because I'd done the research. And then we got to the budget meeting. I met with her in May. We got there in October, and I brought it up again. She goes, oh, I don't have time to look at it now. Well, she had all that time to research that. On that Trilogy Truth site, there was the email that I sent Ursula, and then her responses back. And how that got there, the only people that could have put that on there was one of the former board members or Ursula herself. That was an internal memo between the board. And I sent it to Ursula, and I courtesy copied Greg. But what's interesting is my response. And I'll be more than happy to share the response. But she basically accused me in there of my berating emails and on. So in my response to her, which was very professional, I went through and I copied all pages of emails that I sent her from day one. And they were all very cordial emails. I scanned them in. I attached them to the email, my response to her. And I said, I don't know where you're coming up with this, but here's every single email that I sent to you, and nowhere in there did I berate you in any manner. Never heard back from her.
Some of the emails you said you wanted something by this date and that date.
Yep.
Why don't you talk about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been dealing with this, like a meeting from May when I was asking information on the attorney, what the rate, this, blah, blah, blah. I went through the rental issue and like that, and she wasn't doing anything. And I met with her again, I think it was in November, for May, and then I met with her in November. She wasn't responding. So at that point, I sent the email, and I'm like, you're not responding. Here are the deadlines. You're not going to respond to me. I put it in writing and gave deadlines. And she just like gave me, these deadlines. Well, what do you do to your staff? Don't you give deadlines to your staff?
When you gave her these deadlines, that was not your first time you had asked her for these.
No. That's why I did it, because it'd been dragging on for months.
Wow.
Because Greg let her get away with it. It's interesting. Greg, he backed her up, but then in the meeting, and I got this, he said, and these are quotes for him. He said, I don't disagree with you, as we have had some growing pains over the last year, and there are some improvements that could be made to the way the organizational chart is structured. He said he didn't agree with the changes Ursula made. He basically said that the structure of the staff needs to be reevaluated once we get a new executive director. Well, why wasn't that done before? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If he believed that, why wouldn't you have done something? You're the president. Why wouldn't you have done something then, instead of criticize me for wanting to access the payroll information?
So why do you think they didn't do anything?
Because I don't think they had technically the balls to do anything. You're the boss, you get the job done.